Okay, so in this video, I want to help you understand what I've been doing for our online teachers that needed this guidance. I had some teachers approach me and say, I'm really struggling with knowing how to plan digitally. And when I say that, we had different buckets of teachers that are in this online teacher realm at this time. I have some teachers in my district that volunteered. They were like, "Hey, I want to be an online teacher." We needed more sections, and so then we had to go in and place some teachers as online teachers. And when we got into that scenario, I have some teachers that are great teachers in the classroom, but they are not at a high enough tech ability to understand how to wrap their brains around how do I take what I did in the traditional classroom and then turn it into something digitally. And so they reached out to me to get some help, and I totally get that because this is not easy for someone to then think of, here's everything that I did in my classroom and how do I just simply turn all of this digital. The other group of people that we have are those that got recently hired in our district, and because of our numbers, we needed to have some of them be online teachers. They haven't even been in a classroom with having, their own set of students. So then, asking them to plan digitally in an online environment, of course, they need assistance with that. So recently I sat down with a teacher who has been a veteran teacher in our district, but did not understand how to plan digitally. And she also mentioned to me that there was a teacher in the same grade level at another school in the district, but she's fresh out of college and she was struggling with how to plan digitally. So I set up the time to go over and meet with them, and gosh, I probably met with each of them for about an hour and a half. And this is basically me telling you what I told them when we were talking through what this looks like. Because one of the biggest things is that teachers are trying to grasp, how many videos do I need to make? And, it seems like I'm having to do a boatload of videos when once I kind of laid everything out in this format, then they understood how all the pieces go together. So when I went to them in their room, literally this is a picture of what I was doing. And I said, get me a piece of paper, get me a pencil, get me a highlighter, and I just started sketching everything. So what I've done is I've prettied it up so that this can be actually a template for anybody to use as they're wanting to plan, doing either guided reading, writing, math, really any subject. Maybe this process will help you too. So I'll go ahead and start how I did that conversation with them. I asked the veteran teacher, I said, so we would be looking at week 2 in the classroom. So tell me, what would you do if you actually had the students here? I want you to walk me through what you would do traditionally in the classroom. And she said, well, on our pacing guide, the comprehension strategy is ask and answer questions. I said, okay. I said, so how many mini lessons would you be doing in the classroom with the students on that skill? And she said, I would probably be doing that like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So then I put in these little icons in there to indicate, okay, that means you would turn those mini lessons into a screencast. So that way it's something that the students can watch at their own pace. Then I said, let's move on to the next thing you would be doing. And she said, in writing/grammar for this week, we actually would be doing a focus on a grammar skill and doing types of sentences. And then we would also be focusing on like introducing a review over paragraphs. And so she actually told me that like Monday, Tuesday would be types of sentences, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be paragraphs. And I said, okay. I said, you have a couple of options here. I said, it could be that you record a screencast reviewing over the types of sentences and reviewing over paragraphs. Because again, this is 3rd grade, and at the beginning of the year, we are reviewing some skills that they had last year. I said, so you could do a screencast, or you can go out to YouTube and you can find videos on types of sentences and paragraphs. I said, so you have a couple of options there. Next, part of guided reading is an interactive read aloud. And I said, okay, how many books do you normally do a week? And she said, well, I usually just do one and I cover multiple skills. And I said, that's awesome. So I said, again, you have a couple of options. I go, either you could record the video of you reading the book. And they told me it was some kind of chameleon book. I don't know if I have the right one imaged here. But I said, you could either read the chameleon book and record that as another screencast, or you could go out to YouTube and find somebody else that's read the book online. So then, as the days are going on during the week, the kids are using that picture book in different formats. They're listening to the book. Now we're diving deeper into the book and doing ask and answer questions. The next time that we're taking a look at that book, we're doing types of sentences, looking at the paragraph structure, and so on. So that, again, that's the interactive read aloud. Next, we talked about daily 5. And I said, how are you organizing your daily 5? And she said, in Google Classroom, we have a topic, which is what I had suggested. And I said, that could get pretty lengthy as the year goes on if we keep adding items. And I said, I've seen online where people are creating a Google site, which is Google's version of their website tool. So basically, you could have all of your options for daily 5 on a Google site, and then you could just put a link to that website inside of your Google Classroom. That's just a thought to make it a little more clean, easier for students and families. And it's something that is already, once you get it set up, it's ready to go for you. So she really liked that. Then I said, are you starting your small groups yet? And she said, no, not yet, because on the second week of school, I'm still doing guided reading assessments to determine which small group that the student needs to be in. And I said, all right, well, which ones do you have left? And she said, I've got a nonfiction passage, a word knowledge inventory, and a running record. So then I started with the nonfiction passage, and I said, okay, that's the kid reads a story and they answer questions. And I said, all right, Google Forms. We'll use Google Forms for that. Word knowledge inventory. She felt more comfortable doing that one live, one-on-one with a student, and also getting a running record. She also felt more comfortable doing that live so she could get the best accurate data to establish those small groups. And I said, that's fine. She said, so my struggle has been, how in the world do I possibly schedule, 35, 38 students to get all these individual word knowledge inventory and the running record? And I said, okay, so let's look at the overall picture here. And what I want you to notice is that all of these other pieces are going to be asynchronous, meaning that the student is viewing your videos and doing activities during your reading block, instruction time. And so now what you have the ability to do is you don't need to just have your little small group times, 10-minute chunks or whatever, just doing a couple of, each day. I said, now you can maximize that entire reading block, and you can actually set up, a schedule for your families and for those students to do the one-on-one to get the word knowledge inventory and the running record. And hearing all of this from me, that was the game changer for her to realize, okay, I do have a lot more time in my week. And I said, you know what, you may not get everybody in that entire week. So maybe you do have to finish up some the following week, but I would have a feeling you're going to at least get the bulk of them in there. And the other thing I commented to her as well was, when we count up the number of videos that you can do, so I've got 3 for the ask and answer questions, possibly 2 more if I wanted to do my own for types of sentences and paragraphs. And then let's say I wanted to do the interactive read aloud. So that kicks it up to 6. And this is only reading that I'm doing videos. I've got other subjects that I'm teaching too. So I said, rather than trying to make 6 of those, why don't you look at, okay, I'm going to take it down. I can find that book online, so I'm not going to record myself doing the book for the interactive read aloud. I'm going to find some things on YouTube for the grammar skill. So that cuts me down to, potentially 4 or 3. So now I'm just doing the mini lessons. And now I can also think about how could I divide and conquer, because if another teacher in the same grade level in my district is also doing this topic, Maybe I do 1 or 2 of the mini lessons, but maybe they do a third one, and you guys can share your videos back and forth to work smarter, not harder. And that really, she said, you just took my stress level from here down to here, because I had to talk her through this whole process. And that's the part that I want everybody to be able to see. Obviously, this is week 2 of reading. So then I just went ahead and made a template for a teacher to go in and type, once they do have their guided reading groups determined, and they can do that. Then I asked her, what does it look like in math? Because I know math is different. And she said, well, since we're doing everyday math, I would be doing lesson 1.4, and that's a 2-day lesson. So I would stretch out the box to be over Monday, Tuesday. 1.5 is just reviewing time. 1.6, elapsed time. That's going to take more than 1 day. So again, this is not your nitty-gritty lesson plan. This is basically, how do I take what I normally do in my classroom and break it down digitally so I as a teacher can see at my fingertips how many videos is it actually that I need to create or find online or divvy up with other teachers so that I can break up that workload. Okay? So down at the bottom here, I've actually got just a blank template that you could use for any subject. Maybe it's for science, for social studies, really any of that. So my hope with this is that this can help you kind of tackle this subject, and it doesn't matter what tech ability that you are. If you're watching this and you're one of our other online teachers and you want me to come and sit down with you and do this process, even over the next couple of weeks to help you get comfortable with it, I'm more than happy to do that. I will take the time because I know this is a lot for you to try to plan out moving from traditional to online, and I want to make sure that you feel comfortable. If you're not in my district and you just happen to be watching this video, then use anything that's on here to help guide you as you're taking a look with how to plan digitally. All right? We're all better together.